In a caprice, we very much have to expect surprising and not usual ways of composing. And in the Six Caprices, Opus 26 by Carcassi, in the first one that I already talked about, we have found some incongruencies to normal composing. Not too much, but anyway there is. In the second one, again, we have to focus on harmony, on the harmonic rhythm, a bit on the speed, to find out how we could play this in order to be surprising and capricciosi. The first question that we could have is, what tempo do we have to play in? It's 3/8, so it's really quite quick, because 3/8 should be quicker than 3/4 or 3 half notes, actually. But it not only depends on that, it depends on the actual notes that we have in here, and we mostly have semiquavers, so these are 16th note, very fast, but not so incredibly fast that we have to slow down the tempo in order to play them. And the third thing important here is vivace, and vivace nowadays is given its speed from 126 to 144 beats per minute, so actually that's quite quick. As in a 3/8 bar, we very often are invited to play it with just one pulse. So could be the tempo. If we hear this in 16, so we are quite quick. The key signature is G major, but the beginning suggests D. The first thing our ear and our listener's ear is hearing is automatically the first point where we measure all what is following. And if we have 2 Ds followed by well, we are very much invited to listen to the D as the root. The second bar is doing this. And if we have all the line of 6 notes, well, we don't have that certainty that we are in D, but we don't have even certainty that we are in G, because what is lacking is the 7th note, which would bring us complete conviction of what we have here. And if the second note was a C sharp, we would hear D major. If the 7th note was C, we are invited to hear G as a key. And actually this is what's happening. After twice being confused by this line, we get the C natural. But don't be too sure this is actually G, because here we have the C sharp in the A7 and D major. So Carcassi is capriccioso, confounding a bit the ideas D or G. A little bit. We could play that out because that's the key of the piece. It's not really standing firmly in G major, but it's a bit between D and G, isn't it? So how it's going on? Bars 9 to 12, Carcassi puts apart the discussion if it's G, if it's D. It's going to E and A. So an A minor. And from there, passing to which is a complete cadence, C6 or A minor, G major with D in the bass, D7 dominant, and G major. So finally, in bar 16, we arrive clearly in G major. Nice. So here we have pointed out, and we are in the rules of composing, where the key signature has to be stated very clearly in order to understand what's coming next. This is more or less the way that I now analyze this piece. There's still the harmonic rhythm. Well, I'm always looking not only for the harmonic rhythm, which is very clear here, but for the melody notes that can be disguised in the arpeggi. But as we have clear melody playing in this shaked interval, lines, the arpeggi are not that predominant this way. But anyway, we have A, G, F sharp, G. So there is still melody playing in here. That has to be teared out. Going to analyze all the piece, we find the form of it, which is ABCA plus ending. And it's colored differently because there are slight and bigger differences actually in all the parts. So let's have a look on this. The A part, now completely analyzed in this way, you see two-bar phrases in the bass line, and then the responding arpeggio. With that soprano line, the highest note of the arpeggi. In the second line, E major, A minor, and the complete cadence. Interesting here, the highest soprano notes is initially the same as it was before, A, G, but now F sharp, sensible or guiding note to G, and the cadence completed in G major. So this is the A part. A short word to the addition. You will find here in my edition some dynamics added. Those are indicated by the brackets and are dynamics that I don't know if they forgot them or they did not put in there, but actually it seems reasonable to me to add them. But anyway, they are marked by the brackets. So everything that you see in piano or forte in brackets is mine. The B part. Here the form is different because we have not twice 2 bars with the bass melody, but now 4 bars. So here our breath has to be longer than it was before. And again, the response in arpeggio. You can still focus a bit on the highest note of the arpeggio, but what here is more interesting is the pedal E. In A, in E, in B7s. This is nice in pedals that they are dissonant, but they don't seem to be so incredibly dissonant. Then the perfect repetition of the first 4 bars. The perfect repetition. Better. And then A, again on the pedal, D, A7, and now changed, as Carcassi wants to finish in D, which is the dominant in G. We could so nearly expect a return to G major in the B part. Anyway, here we have another phrasing, another breath. Play that out. The C part that's following. We have new formal elements again and really contrasts on what we had before, because now we are not returning to G as the D major at the end of the B part could suggest, but we're going in E and from there to A minor. And not only, now our bass melody is descending. First thing. Second thing, there is chromatism added. We have E, D sharp, D natural, C, B, and A. Still 6 notes, but the interval that the scale runs through is now a perfect fifth. It's not a sixth any longer. And that is due to that chromatism. So to some way, the chromatic passing note D sharp is needed in order to have really a fifth at the interval that the melody is running through. Responded by the arpeggio. You could point out the bass and the soprano line in counter movement. Then again, as a sequence, same chromatism for the same reason, and again, that arpeggio in counter movement in the extreme part. But now, going on in the second half of the C part, we are still with the 6-note motive with chromatism at the beginning running through a perfect fifth in C major, Why did I write E major and A minor? That's wrong. Actually, it is very much C major, and from there E7 and A minor, and that's right. But what? Oh, an error. Sorry. And then the third, going to G major, A7, and D again. This is just like the harmony that we had in the first A part. And here again, we have that in the C part. Okay, interesting. But the important thing is not what harmony it is, well, that is important too, but that we have 3 times now the melody going downwards in 2-bar units. And this is probably the reason why here all the line has to be played fortissimo and not forte as it was before. So to some way, the bass line insists on its importance, answered by a piano, final chords. From there, we return to the A part, which is almost a perfect repetition of the first A part. And here in the ending, we get more the arpeggio, because for the first time in the piece, the section is beginning with an arpeggio. Bringing in a new melodic material, so to say, in the soprano voice. And then, in this point, the bass is responding to that soprano melody. Going down. But not only the contralto, so to say, the alto voice, in that point, is going in counter movement to the bass. That's interesting. Then, in the last 2 bars, you could focus on the soprano notes, the highest of the arpeggio. That leaves us on this F sharp in order to continue, and actually it is repeated exactly the same, those 8 bars. So in the second time, we could use probably another approach. We will see this in the ending of that line, because it's very much the same arpeggio. Now, focusing on that counter movement between bass and contralto. Here in this point, I like to focus on the B and then the A, which is going to the G. I know that those notes are not in the same metric position as the contralto, the alto voice in the bar before has been. But as the contact of that melody, harmonically, melodically, is anyway given, well, I like to focus on that. So you have, at least for yourself as a player, a different approach on that part. And you can vary it a bit in order to keep the listener as well interested in what you're doing. So that's a possibility. It's not a must, but you can do so. And the last 9 bars are just to finishing it. G, D7, G, D7, not C7. Oh, so many errors. Okay, that's it. Let's see what I can do as an interpretation. Okay, thank you for watching. This was just my ideas on that piece, and it's the second caprice of the 6 that we have in Opus 26 by Carcassi. I will discuss the others too, because I think those are really interesting, because nevertheless, they're all quite arpeggio dominated, so to say, and many take them for studies. There are actually nice pieces of music, and they have all their special capriccio character, and it's well, interesting to have a look on that. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. Bye.